So at Adultcare Assistance, we have 3 core values. We hire by it, we promote by it. Every aspect of our company, they're the values that we weigh everything up against. So we start out with the heart of Adultcare Assistance, and that is coming from Karen, our founder. That need to care for somebody, the true compassion and passion for others, the doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Just so many different ways of how you just love on people and want to make them feel special. And we see that a lot in our caregivers, as far as that's the biggest piece of us, I think, is at the heart of Adultcare Assistance. And they show it every day by the way that they engage with their clients. Second one is advocacy. It's a big one for me. And for caregivers, it might be that they are advocating for their client. It might be that the person that they're working with, their senior, doesn't have a shower chair, and they're noticing when it's time to take the shower that they're so exhausted and they're stumbling in the bathroom or something, and so they might advocate for additional equipment to make sure that we have that safety. It might be for the caregiver advocating that, hey, I need more training. We do a lot of training at Adultcare Assistance, and it's a big passion for me, having been on the consumer side before, like when making sure that everybody has that level of training. I think we want a success story for both the caregiver as well as the client. And by training them, that's going to be something that's going to allow us to actually have that continuity of care, as well as bring them that success and make them feel more comfortable and confident in what they're doing. And so it's a win-win for everybody, because then on the other side, the client's going to get better care, right? But also advocacy is going to be that communication with the office and making sure that we're abridged of everything that's going on. They're going to be speaking up if they notice even a small little thing that seems off. They're going to report that to us so that our care managers can reach out to the families and bring those concerns to light so that maybe we can have it addressed quickly. Advocacy for me means advocating for seniors in general. So I've been very passionate. When I first stepped into the home care field, I didn't realize how little advocacy there was around the senior population. And Arizona being such a big retirement community, it just seemed like it was like, they'll be fine, was kind of the way it felt. We found things like, for example, years ago, there was a regulation that in Sun City, Arizona, which is the Northwest Phoenix area, golf carts were not supposed to ride on the easements or bike lanes. They were supposed to ride in the driving lane. And we were seeing golf cart accidents almost every day. And when you're up in that area, you can be an SUV and be the only SUV in the springtime with all the golf carts, because everybody traverses by golf cart around there. So that was something that was very close to home, because my own grandfather was killed in a golf cart accident. And so I was like, we need to do something about this. So I joined the efforts to try to get that law changed, and we successfully got that law changed so that now in Maricopa County, golf carts can only ride in the easement areas or in designated golfing cart lanes, or they can be in the easement areas, and they have to be on roads under 35 miles an hour. So that was a big thing that we were able to get passed, and so we're hopefully saving lives there. I've been a big advocate for helping with during COVID, when the vaccines first came out and all the PPE equipment came out for the first responders. Nobody looked to the healthcare agencies and the caregivers who were on the front lines just like everybody else, but we're not emergency, so we're not 911, but we were there alongside them, caring for everybody 24 hours a day. And a lot of these people were becoming very, very isolated. We were having the same problems everybody else was with getting the proper PPE equipment. And when the vaccine came out, we were being overlooked for being able to receive the vaccine if we wanted to. So I spent a lot of time on Zoom calls with our state and national representatives. And first we got it passed at the national level that says, okay, now anybody who works in home care can also receive PPE and get the vaccine when they finally will come out with it. But as long as they're licensed. Well, Arizona, we're not licensed. So then I had to go to the state, and we advocated there. And finally they came up with this questionnaire that we kind of helped them come up with that said, okay, in order to say that you would be somebody who could be that frontline worker who would receive it, you need to answer these questions. And so when that first round of the COVID vaccine came out, those who were wanting to be vaccinated were able to get that, because if that was something that they wanted. I've also advocated to help get the fire trucks a database to allow them, when they roll up to a patient's house, so they would have all of the data information on there versus having it be starting over from scratch every single time. Even though they were just at Betty Smith's house yesterday, they have to put in all of that data information again as they're rolling up on the next house. The paramedics are able to provide care quicker because they now have that database coming up with past calls and things that they've gone to. So there's a lot of different ways we've advocated to have better reimbursement rates for services that are provided through both the Medicaid program as well as other state and local funded things to help make sure that our caregivers can provide the care and it can be paid for to help others to be involved in that. There's a lot of advocacy work there. So our final core value is actually a positive impact. How are we making a positive impact? And we've talked about it so many times about how that positive impact is going to be that engagement level, being able to really making a positive impact in somebody's life is really engaging with the senior in a special way. During our orientation, we share a story about a caregiver that happened to care for somebody in our Tucson office many years ago. And every day the caregiver would show up for work and the client would be sitting at her breakfast table and she would want to have an engaging conversation, like an intelligent, engaging conversation. She was a retired school teacher. And so the caregiver would come in and they would talk about current events, the newspaper, whatever. She was reading the newspaper, they'd talk about things that were happening and things. And then sometimes they would read a book together and have like their own little mini book club and things like that. And so they would be engaging with that. And as they went through their day, the other thing the client loved to do, she loved to watch Wheel of Fortune. And so at like 10 o'clock, I don't remember what time, they would sit down and watch Wheel of Fortune together. And the caregiver and the client started making this a real big competition. And so the two of them would start engaging in trying to beat the contestant. And this woman, her mind was so intact and she was so quick on it. And the two of them would duke it out with the contestant trying to get the answer before they did. And so we talk a lot about that. Even in our orientation, we bring that story up because it's like, how are you engaging, making that positive impact? Because when you're walking through that day, how easy would it have been for the caregiver to just sit down and be like, here's your breakfast and kind of whatever, let her talk or whatever, not really get too involved in it. But at the point that they're sitting there watching their game show, how easy would it have been for her to just put the woman into a recliner and just turn on the TV and let her watch her favorite game show. But instead, the caregiver engaged with her and really made it that positive impact by making it a game together. They actively watch TV together. It's not necessarily like we're watching TV so we're not doing anything. No, we're actively doing things together to have that positive engagement, positive impact in somebody's life. So I always ask, if you were to have somebody engaging you in that way, does that make you feel loved? Does that make you feel valued? So having that positive impact is giving somebody that value that they really deserve.